Former top FBI official arrested for taking secret payments from a Russian oligarch he investigated. So we're finding more corruption within the FBI, which is not surprising at all. It is not surprising in any way, shape, or form. But I wanted to get into this story a little bit and dig into it. So who should we look at? Who should we look at? What do we got? Sky News. Who else should we look at? Let's see. We'll flip this over. You guys see? Whose take do we want to look at? CBS, New York Times, Post, Fox. I would be curious to see. Why does my Rumble stream says it's not actually live yet? I wonder why that is. Oh, there it goes. Now it's shaking and moving. Okay. But yeah, let's get into this FBI story. Yeah, let's take CBS News first. Let's see what their take is. Alright, so CBS News reporting former FBI agent accused of helping Russian oligarch violating U.S. sanctions. A former high-ranking FBI counterintelligence official has been indicted on charges he helped a Russian oligarch in violation of U.S. sanctions. Charles McGonigal, former special agent in charge of FBI's counterintelligence division in New York, accused in an indictment unsealed Monday, working with former Soviet diplomat turned Russian interpreter on behalf of the Russian energy magnate Oleg Deripaska. Now, McGonigal? That's a tricky name, for real. So McGonigal was separately charged in federal court in Washington, D.C. when concealing $225,000 in payments he received from an outside source with whom he traveled to Europe. He was required to report FBI contacts with foreign officials. Prosecutors allege he had hid from his employer that he pursued business and foreign travel that created a conflict of interest with his law enforcement duties. Why are these douchebags risking it all for 220 grand? Top FBI official, he probably makes 220 a year. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, what is this? That doesn't even make any goddamn sense. What are we freaking talking about? Now, McGonigal supervised investigations of Russian oligarchs, including Deripaska, who was paying him, before retiring in 2018. Allegedly worked to have Deripaska's sanctions lifted in 2019 and took money from him in 2021 to investigate rival oligarch. So wait, if you retired in 2018, how do you get sanctions lifted in 2019? And how do you take money in 2021 to investigate if you're already retired? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. What is that about? What is that about? All right, so McGonigal, 54, and the interpreter, Sergei Shestakov, age 69, were arrested Saturday, scheduled to appear in court on Monday. Charged with violating and conspiring to violate International Emergency Economic Powers Act, conspiring to commit money laundering and money laundering. Shestakov is also charged with making material misstatements to the FBI, and we know that's serious, aka raid of, I just drew a blank. What's the fucking guy's name with the big Nixon tattoo? got raided in the morning. And old Bannon. Can't lie to the FBI. They'll come down on you hard for that. Unless you're a Democrat. Alright, so messages seeking comment were left for lawyers for McGonigal and Shestakov? Shestakov? I don't know what the fuck that Russian's name is. They did not immediately return an email seeking comment. Now, New York indictment alleges McGonigal was introduced by the Russian in 2018 to a former Soviet diplomat who functioned as an agent for Deripaska. That person, not identified in the court papers, Justice Department says he was rumored in public media reports to be a Russian intelligence officer. So, according to an indictment, okay, so the Russian asked McGonigal for help in getting the daughter of Deripaska's agent an internship in a New York police department. Okay, so they were trying to embed a secret agent as well, and they're not charging him for that. Interesting. Okay, so that's CBS's take on what's going on. Seemed pretty straightforward, not much bias there. So that's good, I guess. Let's see what Rhino News is up to. Alright, so they introduced it as a retired FBI agent who was leading the Trump-Russia probe. Okay, so Fox is the one tying it to Trump, not CBS. That's interesting. So arrested over ties to Russian oligarch. So they say, let me see if there's anything different in here. Yeah, so they open with spearheaded Trump-Russia probe. Oh, okay, so they're tying it to Trump in a manner that this dirty agent was the one actually going after Trump. Okay, that's an interesting angle for sure. So the Russian, who is a U.S. citizen now. Okay, so that's news the other article didn't have. I thought he was an actual Russian. He's actually a U.S. citizen. And he's got a 5-count indictment on the Russian. And apparently it's a rare move to go after FBI officials. Well, no shit there. Let's see. Cybercrime section. Wifey, if you're watching on Rumble, put something in the chat for me. I'm curious if the Rumble chat works. I am curious if the Rumble chat is working. Let's see. So both men charged. We know that. Emergency Economic Powers Act. We get that. Maximum sentence 20 years in prison just for one count of money laundering. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Deripaska's a bad guy. Bribery, extortion, violence. Got it. CEO stuff. Alright, so it was President Barack Obama who 2014 issued Executive Order 13660, declared national emergency with respect to the situation in Ukraine following the annexation of Crimea. And we all know that Crimea happened under Biden because he's a pussy and didn't do anything. Okay, what else we got here? So 2018 Treasury Office Foreign Assets Control designated Deripaska as specially designated national. So they were able to sanction him on behalf of acting, or excuse me, They were able to sanction him acting on behalf of a senior official of the Russian Federation government. So basically they were saying is he was working for Putin doing what he was doing. They were able to slap a special label on him and sanction him. Was that before they took Crimea or after? Was that the punishment for Crimea? One of your guys had to get sanctioned? That sounds more legit. So I'm going to go with after. It was probably after. Alright, so the agent and the Russian tried to hide Deripaska's involvement, leaving his name out of communications, just using shell company info. And they were unsuccessful in their effort to have the sanctions lifted against him. And then in November 2021, that's when the FBI questioned the Russian and when he made the false statements to the FBI. So that was November of 2021. Okay, so this is definitely an interesting story. We got the head of FBI counterintelligence, who was the head FBI person going after Trump for Russian collusion, now being arrested for colluding with Russians. Isn't that fucking ironic? You know what I mean? That is definitely ironic.